I'm going to walk through some of the final lessons in Freecodecamp's HTML and CSS portion of the lessons. We'll jump over. I'm going to go really slow. I'm going to read the instructions and walk through my logic on why I'm doing what I'm doing, or at least I'm going to try. Let me share my screen. So give me just a second here. All right, once I've got my screen shared, we can cruise on over there. Okay, so let me get in the Freecodecamp. So we'll start off by doing override all other styles. Let's shut the map. We're going to do override all other styles by using important. In the prior lessons, we kind of learned the hierarchy of how a class is kind of valued under an ID, and then how you can use inline style to kind of overpower an ID and take that style declaration and make it that. So now we're going to use this keyword important and override everything and do as we see fit from a styling standpoint. So yeah, we just proved that inline styles will override all CSS declarations in your style element. But wait, there's one last way to override CSS. This is the most powerful method of all. But before we do it, let's talk about why you would ever want to override CSS. In many situations, you will use CSS libraries. These may accidentally override your CSS. So when you absolutely need to be sure that an element has a specific CSS, you can use the exclamation point important in all lowercase. Let's go all the way back to our pink text class declaration. Remember that our pink-text class was overridden by subsequent class declarations, an ID declaration, and an inline style. Let's add the keyword exclamation point important to your pink text elements color declaration to make 100% sure that your H1 element will be pink. So they give a quick example. It's like if you want to do color red, you do color : red, exclamation point important. So if we want to ensure that this is pink, we can go down into the more detailed instructions. Basically, what we're doing is your pink-text class declaration should have the exclamation important. That's not done. And your H1 element should be, let's see, your H1 element should be pink. Okay, not real hard. So look at the example real quick again. We can see, if I can get up to the example, we'll see, and I think I went past it. An example of how to do this is color : red. So if we're looking at pink, we have color : pink, okay? All they do is add a space and just drop in this exclamation important. So let's see if we do the same thing, if we can get the same result. So we're going to throw in a space, and then we're going to do the exclamation and then pink. Oh, I'm sorry, important. I don't know what I'm thinking. So we'll do important. Okay, so let's see. Yes, we got the pink to override everything. I'll take this important off and we'll see it. Hopefully we'll go back to the white. Yeah, the pink is very faint, but it does change color. So again, exclamation point important. And you have to look carefully, but it does have a pink tint to it. I guess a way to prove it, since the pink isn't very colorful, that actually something is happening when you use important, is maybe you could use it up here. exclamation point, important. And as you can see, it turned orange. So it is working. I know the pink's faint, but we'll just go ahead and solve the challenge of making pink the dominant color that we use for the code. So go back here, drop in exclamation point, important. And again, it's very faint, but it actually did work. So we'll run the test, and it's a bit slow, but we did. I think we did. Oh, it did work. And I apologize, just the delay. Sometimes you jump. Okay, submit and go to the next challenge. So hopefully we can get this loaded up. This is use hex code for specific colors. Give this lesson just a second to pull up, and we'll be on our way. Okay, we want to use hex code for specific colors. Did you know that there are other ways to represent colors in CSS? One of these ways is called a hexadecimal code, or a hex code for short. We usually use decimals or base 10 numbers, which use the symbols 0 to 9 for each digit. Hexadecimals, or hex, are base 16 numbers. This means it uses 16 distinct symbols. Like decimals, the symbol 0 through 9 represent values 0 to 9. Then A, B, C, D, E, F represent values 10 to 15. Altogether, 0 to F represent a digit in hexadecimals, giving us 16 total possible values. You can find more information about hexadecimals by following that link. In CSS, we can use 6 hexadecimal digits to represent color, 2 each for red, green, blue components. For example, pound 0000000 is black and is also the lowest possible value. You can find more information about the RGB color system by following that link. Place the word black in the body element background dash color and its hex code representation to pound 0000. Okay, so we want to replace the word black in our body. Okay, I got you. So what we're doing is pretty simple, and I think the instructions will have it. Give your body element the background dash color of black, and we just need to use the hexadecimal. So in order to do this, all we simply do is go up here, and we just take the word black out. We can click it and remove it. And then we can simply put in the pound symbol, and then 0000000. Whoop. Let's try it again. 0000000. And we have black. So all we did there is we changed the background dash color to pound 00000, and that the hexadecimal right there was able to change it to black. So we'll run the test, make sure that we've satisfied the test, and we have. So we'll move forward to the next challenge. So now we can use hex code to mix colors. And again, just give it a moment to load, and we'll get started right away. Use hex code to mix colors. To review, hex codes use 6 hexadecimal digits to represent color, 2 each for red, green, and blue components. From these 3 pure colors, red, green, and blue, we can vary the amount of each to create over 16 million other colors. That's pretty powerful. For example, orange is pure red mixed with some blue, mixed with some green and no blue. In hex code, this translates to being pound FFA 500. The digit 0 is the lowest number in the hex code and represents a complete absence of color. The digit F is the highest number in the hex code and represents the maximum possible brightness. Replace the words in our style element with their correct hex codes. So we have Dodger blue, green, orange, red. Okay, so we are merely replacing the colors that are up there with the proper hex code. Okay, give your H1 element with the text, I am red, the color red. Okay, so let's see. We want to replace our I am red, which is associated with the class red text, the color red. So just for simplicity's sake, we're going to take this out, right? Because this is associated with the I am red text because it's in the red dash text class. And this is just a little shortcut. Let's highlight the combination here and then paste it over. And it looks like for whatever reason I was not able to grab the pound symbol, so I'll re-highlight it and then we'll plug that in, bring back that semicolon. So I am red is now red. If we run the test, I'm not going to pass all the way, but I should check at least some of the test problems off. So give your H1 element with the text, I am red, the color red. Use the hex code for the color red instead of the word red. Okay, we satisfied that. Now, give your H1 element with the text, I am green, the color green. So we see H1 class is green hyphen text. So green hyphen text up here is black, and we need to make it green. So we'll take the word black out, erase that, and we'll go up to our green hexadecimal or hex code, and we'll copy that, and we'll bring it, over here, and we'll paste that in. So that within a few seconds gives us the color green. We'll run the test again just because we want to make sure that as we're doing things, we're getting the test to pass. And then we're just going to keep running down the line by doing things, that need to pass these different test criteria. Give your H1 element with the text, I am Dodger blue, the color Dodger blue. So we see there's this H1 class, Dodger blue. We can follow it up here. Dodger blue text is here. It has, again, the color black. What we want to do is go back up top, simply find our Dodger blue hex code. We'll highlight it. We'll copy that. We'll jump into where we erased the word black, and we'll put in the code for Dodger blue. And just like before, it changes to Dodger blue. So if we look, we want to see if that passes the test. We'll hit enter again. And again, it passes the test. We have one final piece of work we need to take care of. Give your H1 element with the text, I am orange, the color orange. Again, H1 class, orange dash text. We can follow it up to our style here. Has black at the present moment. We'll erase that, and we will replace that with our orange hex code. So grab the hex code, copy that, and let's go ahead and paste it in. That should do the trick, clean the code up a little bit. And this time when we run the test or hit enter, everything should pass. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we've done it. So that is taken care of. We'll move on to our next test. Okay, let's see what else is in store. Use abbreviated hex code. We're just going to wait for this challenge to load. Again, with these multi-part challenges, I think it's always wise to run tests as soon as possible. Let's go ahead and read through the instructions, but don't try to do a lot of code and then not like run the test on the back end and realize, wow, you made a mistake very early on. Test as frequently as possible. Many people feel overwhelmed by the possibilities of more than 16 million colors, and it's difficult to remember hex code. Fortunately, you can shorten it. For example, red's hex code is pound FF0000, can be shortened to pound F00. This shortened form gives 1 digit for red, 1 digit for green, and 1 digit for blue. This reduces the total number of possibilities possible colors to around 4,000, but browsers will interpret it as pound FF0000 and pound F00 as exactly the same color. So just learning some quick shortcuts here. Go ahead, try to use the abbreviated hex codes to color the correct elements. So we've got kind of a key, if you would, right here that shows us what the short hex codes are, thankfully, because I certainly don't have these memorized. And we just need to go down the line again and replace the colors that are there with the short hex code. So instruction 1, give your H1 element with the text I am red, the color red. So again, it's class red text that has this text I am red, and we want to make it the color red. So right now it's just set to black as a hex code, and we want to change this to red. So we're going to go ahead and again copy paste. Typing is good, but when it's not absolutely necessary, copy and paste, because it's about kind of understanding how this works in general, not typing every little nuance. So that did work. Let's run the test to verify that we've satisfied that. We should hopefully get 2 green lights. We did. And we'll just, again, go down the list. We want to just continue in the same fashion. Give your H1 element with the text I am green, the color green. So if we look at I am green, it's this green dash text class. So it can be found here in our style. We're going to get rid of its hex code, and we're going to go with a short hex code. Go up, look at our short hex code for green. It's this one. Highlight it, copy it, and we'll paste it down here. So as soon as we do that, within seconds, we get the text to turn green. Clean the code up. We have to run the test to verify that we passed it. So now we've got 4 of 6 lights lit up. Now we want to give your H1 element with the text I am cyan or cyan, the color cyan. So for cyan, it's simply the cyan text. We'll get rid of its present black coloration, and we'll go up and get the cyan short. Copy paste, grab that, put it in, paste, and again, it's just simply following the directions. We'll run the test just to check off. Now 6 of the 8 boxes are lit. Just do the exact same thing. Give your H1 element with the color I am fuchsia, the color fuchsia. So by process of elimination, we know that it's this fuchsia text, which is here. Get rid of the black coloration and put in our fuchsia. So fuchsia is down here. Copy and paste. Bring it on over. Whoop. Get it this time. Okay. So this should now pass and allow us to advance. Hopefully that all made sense. And we did it. Okay. Let's move on. All right, so now we need to use our RGB values to color elements. We'll let this pull up here. Okay, use RGB values to color elements. Another way you can represent colors in CSS is by using RGB values. The RGB values are the RGB values. The RGB values for black look like this. So we have RGB at 0, 0, 0. The RGB value for white looks like this. RGB 255, 255, 255. Instead of using 6 hexadecimal digits like you do with hex code, with RGB, you specify the brightness of each color with a number between 0 and 255. If you do the math, the two digits for one color equals 16 times 16, which gives us 256 values. So RGB, which starts counting from 0, has the exact same number of colors possible as hex code. Let's replace the hex code in our bodies element with the background color, with element's background color with the RGB value of 0, 0, 0. So let's go ahead and replace this with the RGB, and then we want to do parentheses 0, 0, 0, and we'll shut the parentheses, and let's see what happens. And we got black. So I do apologize. The power on my computer is extremely low, so I'm going to run the test, and hopefully we get this to pass. And we did. I'll be back in just a bit when I power up my machine. So we'll stop sharing screen, and I'll jump back. So I do apologize. I'm running low on power. Hopefully this is a kind of good jump start on our Freecodecamp and lessons for HTML and CSS.